The Woman Accused is a Precode drama from 1933. Cary Grant and Nancy Carroll play a newly engaged couple who are about to embark on a pleasure cruise. Before they leave, Carroll is confronted by her former lover, played by Calhern. Calhern wants Carroll back and threatens to kill Grant if she refuses. Acting on impulse, Carroll kills Calhern and tries to cover up the murder, but Calhern's friend, played by Halliday, immediately suspects Carroll, even though he has no evidence to support his claim. Although this is not one of the more daring Precodes, this is still an entertaining yarn with plenty of great performances. The beginning with Calhern is especially enjoyable. They set up Calhern's character to have no sympathy. The way he talks down to Carroll makes us squirm in our chair, and build up just as much resentment as her. Even with all this disdain build up for Calhern, the murder still comes as a shock to us. Many have accused the film of going downhill after this scene, which I kinda disagree with, but I can see why people think that. The film never really reaches that level of suspense again. Part of that is definitely due to the fact that Calhern was just such a despicable character that you didn't really know what he was going to do next. But I do think the filmmakers do their best to keep the film interesting for the rest of the running time. Like many films from the era, it's full of lavish sets. My favorite is the cruise ship. It's a little bit eccentric, but that's what makes it so fun to stare at. It makes me wonder if they reused it from another movie or used it again, because it definitely seems like something they wouldn't want to use once. The director also comes up with a lot of interesting staging to fill the screen. Plenty of these scenes could have been boring to look at, but they managed to make it look enticing all the way through. I touched upon Calhern's performance before, and I want to reiterate what a dirtball he is. There's a cockiness to him when he tells Carroll his plan, and it just makes you want to slap him. Cary Grant and Halliday are also good in their roles. Grant is unaware of Carroll's crime, so he really just plays the part of a doting husband, something he usually didn't do. Halliday's determination is admirable, only because he doesn't know the circumstances behind the murder. He just assumes Carroll is the one with the devious plot. It just makes us hope that he doesn't find any evidence against her, because we know it's her word against a dead man. To me, that adds some intrigue to the plot, but the person I want to highlight is Nancy Carroll. Her performance as the woman accused is the second most memorable part of the film. She's riddled with guilt with what she's done, and realizes her life is worse off now. Carroll does a great job as a woman who's starting to lose her nerves. I won't act like it's the most realistic performance I've ever seen, but Carroll's expressions make her plight interesting to watch. She has such expressive eyes that are hard to look away from. Even when she has a smile on her face, her eyes convey an internal struggle that is only growing worse by the second. Nancy Carroll is actually the actress I want to spotlight today because I find her career fascinating. At the height of her fame, she received more fan mail than any other star in Hollywood. To put that in perspective, her contemporaries were Marlene Dietrich, Greta Garbo, Jean Harlow, and Barbara Stanwyck. Born November 29, 1903 in New York City, Carroll had aspirations for showbiz and broke into stage acting after she was discovered in a dancing talent contest. She came to Hollywood just as sound was being implemented in films. She found fame in some proto-sound films which showed off her singing. This led to a contract with Paramount where she would stay for most of her career. In 1930, she was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress for The Devil's Holiday. However, she lost to Norma Shearer for The Divorcee. This nomination was a turning point for Carroll and made her a major player in Hollywood. Carroll let fame get to her head, though. She complained about the parts she was being given, and her co-workers found her increasingly difficult to work with. By 1934, she was let go from her contract. She struggled to get work in film after that. In 1965, she failed to show up for a rehearsal for a play she was in, and was found dead in her apartment, apparently due to an aneurysm. She was 61 years old. But 5 years before, in 1960, she was gifted a star on the Walk of Fame, something Carroll appreciated very much. So it's nice to know that her talent was honored while she was still working. I said earlier that Carroll was the second most memorable part of the film, so let me talk about the first. The most memorable part comes near the end, so if you don't want spoilers, stop the video now. Near the end of the film, Grant confronts the only man who can help clear Carroll's name. When the man doesn't cooperate, Grant pulls out a bullwhip and strikes him repeatedly in the face. I was so caught off guard by this that I had to rewind the film to make sure I saw everything correctly. This action comes out of nowhere and is how this film earns its Precode status for me. Even looking at it again now, I still can't believe this happened. It's one of the most shocking things I've ever seen in a film from this era. So if you want to watch an overlooked Precode film that has more to offer than people think, as well as discover one of the forgotten stars of Hollywood, then I highly recommend The Woman Accused.